There is record. So we are recording now, and I'm just going to get started. I want to thank you guys all for joining me here this evening. I'm super excited to share with you all a little bit about my experience and some tools that have helped me immensely. So last time I shared this presentation, I compressed it into one session, but what I've decided to do here is to actually break it down into two 45 to 60-minute sessions shared tonight and next week, Wednesday as well. This just allows me to go through a little bit more information, and I was hoping that this way it wouldn't be so overwhelming. I find sometimes you just cram so much information just because to get together, you want to utilize that time. So I thought, you know what, people can join from their home and be settled in. So I just thought I would give this a try. And this way I thought more people could participate in the long run too if I'm recording. And as I warned you, my kids are not settled. So welcome, Logan, to the show. Hi, bud.
Hi.
You're supposed to be in bed. Can you go back to bed, buddy? Good night. So this is the joys of working from home moms. Yes, so I tried to plan this late enough that my kids would be sleeping, and but not too late that everybody else is. Didn't work. Anyway, so I'm thrilled that you could all join, and hopefully you can join next week. And like I said, it is recording, so it's something that is shareable, and that was my goal, that it would be something that people could share with those who need the information. So we are going to get started with a big old disclaimer. So the information presented in this evening's event is for information purposes only. It's not intended to treat, diagnose, prescribe, or cure any disease or illness. I am not a doctor. I am a mom who was looking for solutions and was looking for natural alternatives, and I'm just sharing what I found worked for me. So this is my own research and personal experience. So I think I'm kind of a quirky kind of person, and I like to have a little bit of everything. So I think, you know, for the information junkies, I've got charts and graphs and details and all of those kind of things. But if you're a party animal, do not worry. There's some fun stuff in here for you as well. And yeah, I think we've got an event that is going to have something for everybody. So my Young Living journey began nearly 4 years ago. Can you guys all see the screen? Like, you can see the PowerPoint? Can I get a nod? Can you see the family picture that I got posted? Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. I'm making sure that I'm not leaving you guys all behind. So yes, my Young Living journey began nearly 4 years ago, shortly after my second child was born. I had struggled emotionally throughout my pregnancy, but hoped I would get back on track once my baby was born. This did not happen, and I was left wondering, now what? I knew that I felt off, but I just really wasn't sure how off I was, or what measures needed to be taken to get me back on and feeling like myself again. And I didn't actually realize how not myself I felt until later on, when I began doing things and finding things that were working for me, and then I felt like myself again. I was like, oh, this is what I was missing. Yes, Logan. The moon? Yeah. My son wants to see the moon. Can you say full moon? Look out the window, buddy. Okay. I need you to go to bed soon. Good night, Logan. I love you. Yes, you can look. You look through the window. Good night. Thanks for hanging in there, team. Good night. And that would be why, you know, when I was just thinking about this the other day, how when you're living with just this much stress and then something little, it doesn't take much, just a little thing, just to push you right over the edge, right? So things like that in the past would have made me like a complete psycho person. And maybe I'm composing myself a little bit better because I'm recording. But it just made me realize how far things have changed for me. But as I was saying, I began looking for solutions. Along the way, I found the answers that I was looking for. I found that the answers I was looking for were not simple. For me, it wasn't just a matter of taking a pill and away we go. I discovered that I needed to take an approach that addressed physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual concerns. Tonight, I'm going to try and share what I have learned in the last 3 years that has helped me, and I'm hopeful that it may help you too. In the dark times, my greatest desire was simply to be the best mother and wife that I could be. My greatest disappointment was when I would reach the end of myself and I knew that I wasn't living the life that God had intended for me. I kept trying to reach deep down inside to find the strength to move forward, but the deeper I reached, the more empty I felt. Therefore, fill your cup concept. I discovered that I needed to look beyond myself. When I did that, I discovered a God who was bigger than any of the battles I was fighting, and in the midst of it all, cared about even the smallest detail of my life. And I learned to bring everything to Him. The big things were often easy to bring. They were obviously too big for me to handle. I had no choice but to leave them for Him to manage, but I often try, even now sometimes, to manage the small things. The trouble is, 1,000 small things is a huge burden, and I'm learning to give the small things to God too. I've discovered that He cares just as much for the small things as the big things, and I believe that He wants us to call on Him so that He can bless us with His grace. A verse that has given me this promise is from Matthew 11. Then Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light." That gave me a lot of comfort, and I just hope that that those kind of scriptures will give you comfort as well. So now imagine my surprise when God answered my prayers in a pretty smelling box that could be delivered to me every month. I questioned His answer for some time. I could not comprehend that God would want me to get involved in some multi-level company. And I mean, most of my struggles were emotional and spiritual, weren't they? Shouldn't I just pray harder? That was kind of the attitude that I think I felt a lot of people had around emotional and mental health. Just, you know, it's a spiritual thing that you just gotta pray and deal with. And that was a really frustrating place to be. And I discovered that that there are lots of things that I believe are given to us so that we can work through these things. I believe that God could take away my pain and make my life easy if He wanted to, but I didn't understand why He wouldn't want to. Then one day an answer came to me that I wasn't expecting, and that answer was that it's not about you. I didn't know exactly what that would mean for my life, but it was all that I needed to keep me moving forward. Fast forward 3 years, and here I am in front of you this evening, and I believe that you're here on purpose as well. I'm not going to tell you that all the solutions to all of your problems are in those pretty oils on the screen. They aren't, but these are some pretty amazing tools that have been such a gift, and I'm honored to be able to share this gift with you. So I've actually put together a workbook, and I'm just going to show you what if you don't have it, I can certainly send it to you, but in the meantime, I have just screenshotted or taken screenshots of the workbook. And so here's what page 1 looks like. And we're just going to take a look at that. So the intention for this week with the workbook is to establish simple and attainable goals, a plan of actions that will get you moving in the right direction. And this is a quote from Jim Rohn that I really appreciated. "You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction." And I really like that, because I just imagined, you know, you're heading down this path and you look down the end and you don't necessarily love what you see. But the idea of completely turning around is scary and seems like a lot of work. But what I love is if you just shift your your direction just a little bit, that's going to take you on a totally different path, and you're going to end up in a totally different destination. And I love that. You know, sometimes we feel like we have to make huge changes in order to end up somewhere else. And sometimes it's encouraging just to know that these little changes in the right direction will make a big difference. So the first thing that we need to do when making a plan to be well is to spend some time thinking about why we want to be well. What is our motivation to be well? And of course, we want to look and feel great, but if that was motivation enough, we would all take really good care of ourselves and look and feel great. Simply wanting something doesn't really motivate us, unfortunately. So our reasons why we want to be well will refocus us when we get distracted, are tempted to make excuses, or simply don't feel like making healthy choices. Let me share with you my focus. So I want to be well for my family. I want my family to admire me, to be inspired by me, and more importantly, to feel loved and blessed by me, even when they're not going to bed when I want them to. For many years, I've allowed my stuff to be an excuse to be unwell. It is easy to find reasons why I should not or cannot take care of myself. But in 10, 20, or 30 plus years, I want my family to look at those reasons as things that I have overcome, rather than good excuses for my unhealthy habits and behaviors. So I would really encourage you, if you've got some paper in front of you, to do tonight, take some time, think about what might be your focus. And I would really encourage you to take some time afterwards to think about these things as well. What is going to motivate you to be well? What's going to re-inspire you when you don't feel like doing what you know you need to do? Next, we're going to look at your vision for what you desire your life to look like. Imagine a life in which you and your family are well, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally well. Imagine living the satisfying life that God promises in John 10. What does that rich and satisfying life look like? And how does that feel? Can you believe that God desires to give you that satisfying life? And, you know, I ask that question because it's something that I've struggled with sometimes. We don't feel worthy of a rich and satisfying life. And so, yeah, I just really encourage you to think about that, and definitely think about, you know, try and actually picture in your mind, what does it look like for you and for your family. And the next portion of this little plan is the Healthy Heart and Soul Action Plan. Focus on what you will feed your soul this week. Set aside time to focus on this and feed your soul. Mark it on the calendar and guard this precious time. So I really encourage you to set aside time to read positive things, to turn off the news feed, to turn off anything that's negative, and really just focus on things that feed your soul. And this is just a little thing that I put together one time. It looks like it would have taken a lot of time and effort, but it really, really didn't. I don't want people to feel like they have to put a ton of effort into it, although I did find it kind of therapeutic to spend some time, you know, finding pictures that I love. These to me are pictures of the rich and satisfying life. Fishing with the kids this summer was just phenomenal, and going to the art gallery with my daughter this summer was just kind of a random thing that happened. I certainly did not set out to take my daughter to the art gallery. We just kind of showed up there one day, and it worked out really nicely. And these are just words that are encouraging to me and have really uplifted me. And so I printed this off and stuck it on my fridge for a little while, just to encourage me. So I would, certainly encourage you to take some time to think about things like this. It really takes intention to focus on positivity. I find there's a lot of negativity in the world, and sometimes we really have to be active and intentional about finding some positivity. So this is part of the workbook, and what I what I encourage people to do is each day just take a couple minutes to kind of refocus. In the morning, pick a word or phrase or verse that will remind you of why you will work to be well. And then in the vision too, pick one word, phrase, or verse that will remind you of what it looks like when you are well. And I find it really is helpful to do this every day, and it really actually doesn't take much time. For me, honestly, most days this week, the word that I've chosen for vision is just simply sanity. Insanity, I've heard the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So simply reminding myself that if I want sanity, it means that I have to do something different, and that's what's pushing me in a different direction this week. But each week or each day, I can have a different word that just means a little bit more to me than the past, or the next day or whatever. So it's good just to kind of refocus every day and to keep in mind of what your goal is to get you focused on self-care. We are gonna go into this a little bit more afterwards, but this is something that you can fill in. I'm gonna go through a few suggestions for nutrition, and supplements and things like that, that we can focus on feeding ourselves. Exercise is not something I'm going to be talking about today. That's what we're going to focus on a little bit more next week. Cassie Cricky is hopefully going to join me next week and share a little bit of her experiences on that, and she's got some really great insights on those as well. I put rest on here, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more too, but I find that we just really need to make rest a priority, and that's why I put it on here, where you actually need to make a plan to rest, and whether that's actually going to bed on time or getting up on time or napping during the day. I think we need to give ourselves permission to nap during the day sometimes, or even just sitting and not doing 100 things is restful. I really would encourage you to set time aside to rest. My favorite form of rest these days, I'm not a napper, is actually sitting down and coloring. I bought some nice coloring books and am coloring, and it's something that I can do with the kids. I have certain pictures that are pictures that I color with the kids, and I don't care if they mess them up. And I actually have coloring that I do by myself. It's something that I feel like I'm accomplishing something, but it's really quite restful. So that is something that I would encourage everybody to consider doing too. And then the last block on there is resist. And it's just an opportunity to acknowledge the things that you have given up in order to choose wellness. So sometimes we have to sacrifice watching our favorite TV show because we haven't gotten any exercise. Or maybe we need to sacrifice time on Facebook or TV or whatever, because we need to focus on something else and work to take care of ourselves. So I like that because it's an opportunity to celebrate the things that we are sacrificing. So definitely write those things down, and you can feel good, like, yeah, I gave up that cookie and ate a banana instead. Whatever you're doing for self-care, celebrate that. So this is just something that I've thought of for a while, and I've found it really helpful. Start each day with the resolve to do whatever it takes to have a good day. This doesn't mean that everything will go smoothly. It means that you will find a way to overcome the obstacles. Go to bed. Go to bed. So your children don't open wide. Make sure I don't plan these things on nights that my husband has meetings as well. That's what I'm going to do in the future. Anyway, I really like the word resolve, and maybe that's a great word to plug into your little chart if you're not sure where to start right now. It's a great word to start with. But yeah, let's move on. I find it interesting how closely tied our emotions and our physical well-being is. In other words, if you're hungry or tired or stressed, those are fairly physical things, we become emotional. We see that in our kids all the time. The kids get grumpy and it's, oh, they're hungry or they're tired. But we don't always acknowledge that in ourselves. And so this is a tool that I learned at a program called Freedom Session, and it's called HALTS. And it's just stop yourself when you're feeling emotional and grumpy. Check these things. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Or are you stressed? If any of those things are going on in your life, then take the time to deal with those things. Sometimes it's as simple as just having a healthy snack, or acknowledging that, what, I am just tired. I do need to go to bed on time. So I just really appreciated this little tool, because sometimes we need some of those basic reminders just to take care of the simple things in our lives. So yeah, just remember, HALT, and check these things out. We're gonna take a little bit of a look at brain and mental health. So for the most part, I think people tend to lump mental health in with emotional and spiritual health. I agree that those things all work together and are linked, but I think it's important to see the correlation between mental health and brain health. Let's remember now that our brains are organs made out of tissue and fluid, just like the other organs in our bodies. Our brains are not spiritual entities or magical emotion boxes. So with that in mind, we can assume that if our brains are healthy, our ability to think, remember, make decisions, navigate, and moderate emotions, as well as plan, are supported. So imagine your brain is a mass of electrical wiring. Now imagine that the wiring gets cut, frayed, or damaged. What will happen? This is how I understand the brain to work. However, when our brain has the nutrients it needs to build healthy brain tissue and cells, it should be healthy. And keep in mind that the brain is mainly water and fatty acids. By the way, if you are wondering, that this image is of a brain cell. And can you see what I mean about the electrical wiring analogy? One thing to keep in mind too, I have really found when I don't get enough sleep, my brain obviously seems to malfunction. I'm sure we can all think of times where your memory's not working, or you're just tired, and you can tell that your brain's just not working the way that it should. And it really is, that is a physical thing. And that's just something that I would like us to keep in mind. So now that we understand better how important it is for our brain, just like our heart, lungs, and muscles, to be supported, let's take a look at ways we can support those important structures. If you haven't already heard, Young Living is so much more than oils. We are a whole wellness company, and we offer so many fantastic products to support your entire body. Carla Green is an incredible lady who also happens to be one of our Young Living Upline support members. She put this graphic together as a basic starting point for anyone looking to support a healthy brain. Carla is a physiotherapist and a registered acupuncturist who has been working with Young Living products in her clinic in Alberta for over 15 years. She has noticed results using Young Living products with her clients on average 30% faster when compared to even the highest quality products available on the market. The difference is Young Living's purity standards, commitment to wellness, and of course, the addition of essential oils in the products to enhance and stabilize the vitamins, minerals, and essential nutrients that your body needs. Hopefully everyone knows that our bodies and brains thrive with omega fatty acids. Now add some essential oils to stabilize, promote freshness, reduce oxidation, and reduce that fishy aftertaste. Kind of a bonus. If you've ever taken omegas, you know that sometimes it can taste a little fishy, funky afterwards. The Omega Dyes is a great supplement that has the essential oils in it that definitely help it taste better and stabilize the product. So Carla considers Omega Dyes, Essential Zymes 4, Life 5, and Nature Red the pillars of health. This is the protocol she uses with many of the people who come through her clinic, and she has had fantastic results. I personally have noticed better memory, healthier looking skin, which is great. Just turned 30, so I'm even more aware of my skin these days. Increased energy, Improved mood, that's the big one. Really, that was a huge one for me. Improved digestion, less bloating, and improved immunity. Now, when I talk about improved digestion and less bloating, it's interesting because it's not something that I ever thought that I had an issue with. I didn't think that I needed any kind of digestive support. And so it took me a long time to get on board with actually utilizing those supplements. It wasn't until afterwards when I started using them and the bloating went away that I realized I had a minor form of bloating for a long time. And it's interesting because, you know, how often aren't, you know, babies fussy because they have tummy aches? Well, to be perfectly honest, I think I was kind of fussy and grumpy because I had a tummy ache a lot of the time and didn't even realize it. That's the sad part. So I think a huge part of self-care is awareness, paying attention to these things, and noticing when changes happen. So even if you're not sure that, you know, digestive support is something that you need, I would really encourage you to try it. You might be surprised what a difference that those things make. I feel that really quite good when I utilize this protocol, and I certainly notice when I drop the ball and stop taking advantage of these products. I would also really encourage people to commit to trying the products for a solid 3 months before dropping them and doing something differently. I had tried Ningxia Red and I didn't really notice a big drastic difference right away. And some people would say, oh, they could notice a difference right away, instantly. Or maybe not instantly, but within days kind of thing. For me, I didn't notice a big difference, and so I had stopped taking it. But then when I started and got consistent and used it for 3 months, then that's when I really did realize, yes, no, this is something that is making a big difference for me, and I'm going to continue to use it. Now, it's one of my staples. I will never be without Ningxia in my house, and I make sure that I take that every day. The other cool thing about Ningxia is, you know, I was saying how we need to be aware of what we need and what's going on in our bodies. What I love is children seem to be much more in tune to these things than adults often are. And when my kids ask for Ningxia, I give them Ningxia. I learned this the hard way, that if they're asking for it, they need it, and I'm not going to deny them of it. Because yeah, they just know when they need it. So I would really encourage you to, when your body's craving it, that is a craving that you may absolutely give into. Oh, I'll go back one more. The other 4 products are items that Carla would recommend in addition to the 4 pillars. So the 4 pillars, yes, I've discussed those: Omega Gi's, Essential Sign, Life 5, and Ningxia Red. The other 4 products are items that Carla would recommend in addition to the 4 pillars to better support brain health specifically. I have begun using MindWise and find that this is a great addition for myself. Nitro is my best friend when lacking sleep and I need a boost. And it was part of my daily routine when I was pregnant, as it's loaded with B vitamins. So it really was one of my, yeah, it was definitely a daily thing that I took the Nitro, and I absolutely loved it, and it made a world of difference for me. The next 2 items are ones that I really recommend you do some extra research on to better understand why they should be a part of your daily routine. Sulfurzyme and Copiaba. Copaiba. I say it wrong every time. I started saying it wrong and I haven't gotten good at it. Copaiba. I'll tell you a little bit about how to use Sulfurzyme. It is another one that I've finally gotten on top of taking regularly. I know that this is one that I need, and so I'll tell you a little bit about what it is. So the Young Living Sulfurzyme is one of the most effective MSM formulas on the market due to the additional Ningxia wolfberry powder, which provides cofactors that increase absorption. So you're getting the sulfur and better absorption because of the Ningxia wolfberry in there. Definitely look up sulfur deficiency, and you'd be amazed what that can cause in people. So Young Living Sulfurzyme capsule, one serving is 1.2 grams, or sorry, one serving is 2 capsules, which is 1.2 grams. And the dose, the recommended dose is the least amount that gives you the best results is the ideal dose. So you may need to ramp up to a high dose until you get the desired results. Stay at this dose for a period of time, then decrease the dose and see if you maintain the results. So you're definitely going to want to play around with these things a little bit. I find that you're going to do that with a lot of the supplements, the oils especially. I find you got to play around with them and figure out what's the best product for you. Side effects. If the dose is higher than your body can tolerate, you may get temporary stomach upset or diarrhea. Some people can avoid these symptoms by taking their MSM with food. And I'm reading this because I had never heard anybody having trouble with sulfurzyme, and then one friend said that they had gotten a stomach ache from it. I was quite surprised, but then when I looked this up, this is the information that I found. So just keep these things in mind. Try taking it with food if you do get any kind of upset stomach. Once you decrease the dose, these symptoms will resolve. MSM is extremely safe for all ages, and no serious side effects have been reported in 20 years of use. Some people experience a mild headache for the first few days of taking MSM. MSM does not interfere with any prescribed medication, although if having liver function tests, stop MSM for 4 days before testing. If on blood thinner medication, such as warfarin, consult your doctor before taking MSM, as MSM may produce slight blood thinning effects. So a lot of people ask, well, I'm allergic to sulfa, can I take sulfurzyme? So MSM is not the same as sulfites or sulfa drugs. Most everyone can take MSM. So the typical dose is 2 to 8 grams per day, and higher doses have been used. Now we'll take a look at copiaiba. So I have no words to tell you how much I love this oil. I've heard it referred to as helichrysum on steroids, frankincense on steroids, or sandalwood on steroids. So those are all some pretty powerful oils, and you just amp them up and you've got this beautiful oil. It's considered an enhancer oil, much the same as peppermint, but has much milder smell. So my advice is just simply crack that baby open and put it on pretty much everything and anything whenever possible. If you have not tried this oil, I definitely recommend cracking that open and trying it, and seeing for yourself what a wonderful oil this one is. It's honestly one of my go-tos. It's a very, very versatile oil as well. And yeah, it can be used just in the same way as the rest of them. Inhalation, just smelling them, and topically, very, very soothing oil. So this is what I wish was happening in the room next to me right now, but it's not. But anyway, maybe I should grab some Tranquil or something. Anyway, my thought was, raise your hand if you could afford to get a little bit more sleep. I can't see everybody's hands, but I'm pretty sure everybody can afford to get a little bit more sleep. I have found that 9 times out of 10, my greatest area of lack is sleep. The sad part is that it took me a very long time to recognize that in myself. I honestly believed that I didn't need that much sleep, and that going to bed at 11 and getting up at 6 was plenty of sleep for me. After all, that is 7 hours, right? You only need 6 to 8. And I never really felt that tired during the day. The mornings don't count. I'm just not a morning person. Oh, and that mid-afternoon crash where I would walk around in circles because I couldn't focus on what I was doing, that was just baby brain. That had nothing to do with sleep, right? Oh, and that total meltdown at bedtime, me, not the kids, that was because I was stressed out. So that was just a little bit of an example of the denial that I was in about getting enough sleep. You know, the kids go to bed and you just want to like zone out and watch TV for a little while, and then before you know it, it's 11:30 and you haven't brushed your teeth yet. So this is why I'm kind of harping on this topic, because I know that we can all do this to ourselves, and we do not get enough sleep, and then we're wondering why we're tired and grumpy and miserable. And frankly, it's just we need to commit to going to bed on time, and that's why I put that whole little category in the chart of rest. So I really encourage people to make it a goal. When my youngest was born, I definitely struggled. I had what I call brain glitches, where my brain would just think and do weird things. And I've begun to recognize those things as the first symptoms of anxiety. And what I discovered is when I made myself go to bed at 9:30 every day for a week, that was enough to just get me back on track. And that was really encouraging, because I was taking my supplements, I was eating well, I was doing the things that I know I needed to do, but I just simply wasn't getting enough sleep because I have a newborn. And so I had to commit to going to bed on time. I am going to read a bit of an article that I came across that I thought was really quite fascinating, in case my story wasn't compelling enough for you. There is some sleep statistics. There's a big relationship between psychiatric and psychological. Sorry, my brain is not working. Apparently, I didn't get enough sleep. Psychiatric and psychological problems and sleep. So people who are depressed or have anxiety often have trouble with sleep as part of these disorders, says Dr. Lawrence Epstein, medical director of sleep health centers and an instructor at Harvard Medical School. And this is his article that I'm referring to. Difficulty sleeping is sometimes the first symptom of depression. Studies have found that 15 to 20% of people diagnosed with insomnia will develop major depression. While sleep research is still exploring the relationship between depression and sleep, studies have shown that depressed people may have abnormal sleep patterns. Sleep problems may, in turn, contribute to psychological problems. For example, chronic insomnia may increase an individual's risk of developing a mood disorder, such as depression or anxiety. In one major study of 10,000 adults, people with insomnia were 5 times more likely to develop depression. Lack of sleep can also be an even greater risk factor for anxiety. In the same study, people with insomnia were 20 times more likely to develop panic disorder, a type of anxiety disorder. Another study showed that insomnia is a reliable predictor of depression and many other psychiatric disorders, including all types of anxiety disorders. The takeaway: sleep and mood are closely connected. Poor or inadequate sleep can cause irritability and stress, while healthy sleep can enhance well-being. Chronic insomnia may increase the risk of developing a mood disorder, such as anxiety or depression. Poor sleep and feelings of depression or anxiety can be helped through a variety of treatments, starting with improved sleep habits, and if needed, extending to behavioral interventions and an assessment for a sleep or mood disorder. This is something that, I do harp on, because it's something that is so simple. You know, not all the oils and supplements and healthy food in the world are not going to replace a good night's sleep. And sometimes those things are out of our control, but often there are things that we can do to make sure that we get more sleep. This is just something that really does. Once I became aware of my those anxiety symptoms, and how they make me feel and how they interfere with my life, and sleep being one of the biggest factors, it's so simple. And so I do definitely harp on that a lot, because it is something that we certainly need to make a priority. So I really encourage creating an awesome bedtime routine. There's lots of oils that I love to use right around bedtime. Clearly, I forgot to use some Tranquil with the kids before bed, but that is actually one of my favorites. ImmuPro is a wonderful one. Often when I do this presentation live, I would encourage people to share with me what are their favorites, but these are all options. Idaho Balsam Fir and Blue Spruce, those ones, took me a year to discover those ones, but once I started using those at bedtime, I was hooked and just absolutely love those ones. Lots of people love cedarwood, and that's a fantastic one. It's a very versatile oil, and it's so inexpensive. So you can just order that one and give that one a try and not even feel guilty, because it's like, I think $12 a bottle or something like that. Very inexpensive and very versatile. So even if it's not your favorite bedtime routine oil, it's something that you can use for so many other things. Orange, again, is a fabulous oil. I just love it. And it's interesting because lemon is actually quite an energizing oil. So that's something that I would like to use during the day or in the morning. However, orange is a very soothing and calming oil, so that's a great one to use before bed. Roman chamomile and rutabaga are also other suggestions, and really honestly, there are so many great soothing oils that you can use as part of your bedtime routine, and definitely just get out there and try some and figure out. Like I said, it took me a good year to find some that worked great for me. Some people, all they needed was lavender and they love it. But it took me some trial and error. So if you don't find one that you love right away, just keep on trying oils and see if you can find some great options for you. So we're going to look back at the Wellness Plan workbook. Something that I have found very helpful is to focus on what you will feed your body this week. We're not going to get too crazy ahead of ourselves. We're not going to say, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock for the rest of my life every day. Well, 10 o'clock probably is reasonable, but let's just focus on 1 week. And we're going to focus on what you will feed your body this week. So forget about the things that you shouldn't put into your body. If you think, I shouldn't have this or that or the other thing, you will want it all the more, and you will feel extra guilty if you do indulge. Guilt does not motivate change. Confidence does, and confidence comes from feeling good about what you do. So if you plan to eat 2 pieces of fruit today, you will be less likely to think about the things you are avoiding. And when you achieve the simple goals, you will build your confidence up so that you can keep making healthy choices. So again, it's those small things, the small shifts that you can make in the right direction. When you can achieve those small things, you're going to head in the right direction. You're going to build your confidence up so that you can make some of these bigger changes over time as well. So yeah, just focus on the things that you can do, and focus on these small changes that you can make that I think are going to make a big difference. So what I encourage is to make 1 or 2 simple goals for yourself to get you headed in the right direction. Know your limits. If one small change is all you can manage this week, you know, if you're in a really dark place, even just doing one thing can seem like a huge, insurmountable mountain. So be gracious to yourself. If you know that all you can manage is one change for now, start there. And like I said, you're going to build your confidence. But if you know that you can and you need to make 5 changes in your life this week, set those goals, but make sure it's something that is achievable for you. And keep in mind that you also need to leave room for feeding your heart and soul this week. So take a minute to think about and possibly write down some simple goals that you've made for yourself. This week I will ... to feed my body what it needs. And I put the 4 pillars of health in there, so that you have access to that information, because those are really, really great suggestions. But maybe you are already taking those things and you need other suggestions, simple as, you know, eating more fruit this week. So now, in case you have not heard about the Essential Rewards program, I want to make sure you know about the best way to order your Young Living products. So that's all the information that I'm going to cover for self-care this week. I'm going to go into more detail on The Life 5, the probiotics, the essential enzymes, those kind of things. I'm going to go over that more next week. But I just wanted to make sure that people know about the benefits and the best way to order these products. If you're ready to order these things and want to get started next week or this week right away, do take advantage of the Central Rewards program. My advice, especially if you're intending to make some shifts to take better care of yourself, join Essential Rewards, mark your shipping date on the calendar, and stock up on your favorites. If you are a first-time Essential Rewards member, you can earn free diffusers. The minimum requirement to order to maintain ER is 50 PV, which is about $50. You do need to order 100 PV for 3 months to earn the Dewdrop, and 9 months to earn the Aroma Lux. So 9 months, 100 PV will get you that Aroma Lux for free. When I first started, I thought there was no way I would spend $50 a month on essential oils. That was 3 years ago. Each month, I order some of my favorites, and I try to get something new. I have not spent under $100 per month in quite some time because I've begun purchasing staples like shampoo, toothpaste, and even pancake mix, along with my favorite oils and supplements. And I've not tried, and I've yet to try every Young Living product. There's still products that I haven't tried. And I don't feel bad about placing those $100 orders because it's transfer buying. It's stuff that I would have bought from the grocery store or the drugstore or the health food store anyway. So it's just transferring, and now I'm getting points back towards free product, and you can earn free diffusers. It really is a great program to take advantage of. Essential Rewards is an incredibly flexible program. You can select the product you want each month. You can change your shipping date each month, and you can cancel any time. However, the longer you are with ER, the more you benefit. This month, I actually earned 40% back, and here's how. Promovember. I have been on Essential Rewards for over a year, so I already earned 20% back to use towards free product. When you first start on Essential Rewards, you're going to get 10% back. Then with the promo this month, I purchased some Nixia singles and earned an additional 20% back. I chose to stock up on the Thieves cleaning products and bought some Christmas gifts. And with my order, I earned the Thieves spray and Thieves essential oil. This time of year, great to have. The Thieves hand purifier, 5 ml frankincense, and I earned free shipping. So I was super excited about my order this month. And just wanted to let you know about those promos that are available to you as well. So that is all that we have for today. Do join me next week as we continue to discover ways to better take care of ourselves. We will be looking at how gut health, glandular health, and exercise all contribute to emotional well-being. We'll also be looking at energy support, emotional support, and what I call the self-care ceiling. So have you ever been on a roll doing really, really well, taking care of yourself, and then you plateau, or worse, your whole plan completely tanks? That's what we will be talking about next week. Also, if you like this and you want to check out, then you may want to check out Jolene's presentation coming up on Sunday. So here's the little information for next week, learning more. It'll be same time, same place, next week, Wednesday, 8 to 9. And then here's Jolene's chemical-free home presentation coming up Sunday. It's 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 Mountain Standard Time, 4 Central Time, and 5 Eastern Time. Just to cover all those, Jolene posted them for us. She did a Sunday afternoon because this is something that is available. She wanted to make it accessible for friends in the eastern part of Canada. So I think that'll be good news for some people. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to turn off the recording and leave time for questions. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to share a bit about what goals you are going to make, this would be a great opportunity to get some accountability. So if you want to ask questions or share a little bit of your thoughts, you'll just need to unmute yourself. I'm not going to unmute everybody because then it gets really noisy and crazy. But I'd love to hear from you guys if you've got any questions, or if you're like, yeah, I'm gung-ho, I need to make some goals and I'm going to put them out there for everybody. Definitely do that. And I didn't see the chat, so hopefully I see Caroline. Oh, so Caroline, did you know that you won? I'm glad she caught it. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, let me know. Oops. And otherwise, oh.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say I truly agree with everything that you've said, and it starts with a good night rest. Since getting off work a year ago, I thought I was a big kid, an adult, and I could like stay up late and watch movies and not eat properly, and I crashed super hard this summer.
Totally.
To the point where I couldn't even function. I couldn't even carry a conversation with anybody. Like, I literally thought I was losing my mind. And so that's all I wanted to add, was just, I agree, Catherine.
Well, thank you for sharing, because doing something like this and not getting the feedback, it feels weird. So it's so nice to get that feedback.